And so those are all the resources to get us started. I am Megan. I am one of the, you probably just saw her just go by. I am in the Discord as well as a moderator, but do not consistently ping me. I also do other work. So just be aware, I do moderate the Discord channel and the other channels, but I am not specifically just there to answer questions. So just be aware of that. I sometimes do answer questions if they don't get answered by other people in the chat. But that cat just really surprised me. But just be aware, don't ping me constantly, otherwise I will definitely not respond. just maybe just be a little bit spiteful. I say this jokingly. So let's go. What the heck is your problem? You want to be on stream? Is that what you want? My first stream in like forever, and you're like, I'm just gonna get in the way of everything? Come here. You wanna hide? That's what I thought. Alright, let's get back to this. She has to be in my room because she's still brand new, so sorry about the cat running around noises. So let's go to the main. I'm actually going to drag and drop over just Pinterest if you guys want. So we're going to be doing Techwear in this case. So it's either going to, generally Techwear is Gore-Tex or technical materials, but I'll be doing most of the technical materials in just utilizing the nylon feature and probably adjusting it from there. Really the important part in this is that I will be designing and doing the actual design live while we're doing this. I have practiced, but I have not decided which one we want to do. So I do like these types because I've designed this before. I didn't ban you. You complained some more and I might give you time out again though. You said you could say anything and I didn't see it? Well, I saw it. I'm the only one moderating right now, and I get to moderate very heavily if I want to. So, Techwear is generally going to be either Gore-Tex or outerwear, as well as wicking materials. So I was going to go with one of these, just an oversized coat with a lot of pockets and webbing and insulation, but I'm not going to be doing batting. Oh, we could do a jogger. We could do a jogger, or we could do like low-rise jogger pants. Or like really low-rise pants, whereas one of those that looked kind of fun. That just had a bunch of pockets all over it. Some of them were hip-hop pants. These are kind of fun. We could always just do a jogger jacket as well. One of these pants. These are more fashion and less actually tech wear. Yes, we're going to do a pants and a jacket, but the style is going to be the question. So we're going to be starting probably with the pants first, just because layering. So we'll either do probably a lower rise jogger with pockets and zippers. And these are all like kind of more streetwear, but they're always fun. If you also note, the straps there are fun, but I do prefer practical wear, but I don't know if anyone wants to just watch me make a ski coat. We can add a bunch of cool pockets, and then it's made of Gore-Tex, and then it's technically Techwear because it's technical fabric. But the other important part of it is that, for example, these pockets have the strapping around them in the leg. And so that enables it if you have very heavy pockets. Yeah. Well, let's try these because we're doing it. I'm going to be doing this on a woman, so because women don't get enough tech wear. So I just wanted to point out before I start, we can see the straps around the legs where the pockets are. That's going to help stabilize those pockets if they actually have heavy things in them and you are running. It's going to help stabilize those pockets against your leg. And most likely this is probably a one single wicking material that's also a probably waterproof, but I'm going to still be using nylon and probably adding a little bit more stretch to the design. But joggers are pretty easy designs, so we'll just see how far we get. So I'm going to bring in my avatar first. Yeah. Oh, avatar. So I'm using the version 2 avatar, and I am using Marvelous Designer 10 for this. I'm going to close. Actually, I'm going to see if these pants fit her. Or if these are the men's pants. Okay, these are the men's pants. That's fine. So I'm just going to be modifying the actual men's pant, because obviously these joggers are lower rise and they are baggier, so this could be a good way to start working. You guys aren't seeing this, but I'm keeping this as a reference even though I am still designing it off here. I just can't do both at the same time and have the screen going. I mean, there's an application for that, but I'm not about to download that. And to make this easier, I am just going to take the waistband just to see what happens when it drops. And I'm going to apply elastic value to that waistband just so it can stay on her waist when I simulate. Obviously elastic is a little too strong for this, but I can always reduce the strength of the elastic or the ratio. I'm holding shift to select multiple lines. And I'm going to go down to elastic again. There it goes. Where'd those joggers go? Clicked away? Oh, here they are. This is what I get. I click away. Fine. And also feel free to ask questions while we're doing this. I can always answer questions verbally if we need to. Okay. Okay, there we go. So this is still too low. I do want to increase the rise on her, but I also want to lower the crotch. So I can do it either by increasing the rise here, by increasing the waistband by just selecting the waistband and raising it upwards. For pattern manipulation, you can easily do this. Or I can just take the rise on the lower portion and just lower it as well. To lower it, if this is resting where I like, I can just leave it here and see this way it's lower. I do want to actually do a little bit and move her legs out a little bit. Just, I'll reposition it in a bit, but I want to do just this, just so we can see. Okay. And select mesh. Since it's collided with her leg, I'm just using the Select Mesh tool. And I'm just going to pull it back. You can do this while it's while simulating or while you're not simulating. There we go. Oh yeah, you can adjust the avatar. Actually, I should ask the chat, how many of you are have used or are familiar with Marvelous Designer? Just so I get an idea of what I should specifically be explaining. Because while we're here, I'll go over kind of the basics as well. For your avatar, a lot of people don't know that, like, in the YouTube chat, a member had just said that they didn't know that they could adjust the avatar. You can adjust the avatar so long as they have, so long as they're rigged. All of the Marvelous Designer avatars that come with the program are rigged. You can import a custom avatar with a skeleton, yes. I have done that before. I don't know about 3ds Max just because I don't have 3ds Max, but I believe so. And any of the joint points you can move and adjust. So that's an option, as well as long as your avatar is humanoid and it comes in at the correct scale, not too large, not too small. Again, Marvelous Designer works on human scale. Why did I spread the legs of the avatar? I spread the legs of the avatar because I'm going to be making the crotch a lot lower and manipulating the crotch, so it's going to be a little easier for me to see how it lays. Like, let's just say if she was going into, like, if she was standing with her legs apart, like the same, like, width as her shoulders. This is just making it a little bit easier for me to see how this drapes, just because if I wanted to add more fabric, like a harem pant, let's just say, into the crotch, I can see it and manipulate it easier here in this way than it is if it's just all with her legs next to each other. Yes, as well as, let me turn this off and turn this back on. So for those of you who may or may not be familiar with Marvelous Designer, we have bounding volumes and arrangement points. So I'm going to touch on this really quick, because a lot of people don't really know about it and they just kind of place the fabric around their avatar. And so the bounding volumes are these green rings. You can make your own custom bounding volumes, which is great for, like, inhuman avatars that you're working on. And on those bounding volumes, you can also apply your own arrangement points. And so if you bring in an avatar that is human shape, you can, it will generally auto apply your bounding volumes and arrangement points to fit it pretty well, so long as it's at the correct scale. So if it's too big or too small, you're probably not going to get it, and that's also going to be an indicator that your avatar is too big or too small. Your avatars should be in a range of about 1500 to 1800 in height if they are adult humans, because Marvelous Designer does work in human scale with fabric. It's going to be the best to work at that scale. Because otherwise, if you do it too big, you're trying to, like, put a dress on a skyscraper. Or if you bring it too small, you're trying to take, like, actual real fabric, because that's how our algorithm works. You're trying to take real fabric and put it on, like, a Polly Pocket little doll. And so that's where your patterning issues can come in. And if you do experience issues with, like, why is your pattern not the correct, like, why is this curve suddenly, like, just angles? It's probably because your avatar is too small. So toggling these off, actually I'm going to keep this on. I've sort of moved her, but the bounding volumes did match, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this really quick so you can see. These are the arrangement points. If I select my pant, my front pant here, I can place it on arrangement points. And this makes it easier for me to dress my avatar without having to just specifically move it in the 3D space, and just move it close to my avatar and hope that it's going to fit. I can just utilize these arrangement points and then just click and press and simulate. You can rescale OBJs in Marvelous Designer 10. So if you import an OBJ, or I think an FBX as well, into Marvelous Designer 10, you can rescale it, but these specific avatars, you're going to have to go to Avatar Editor, and you can change their height using the Avatar Editor. Now this is only in Marvelous Designer 10. If you have 9.5 or below, you do not have this this option, nor do you have the option to rescale it to rescale your OBJ. So if I wanted to change your height, I could. All right. So the other reason I'm doing this is because if I wanted to make the pants baggier, I can also pull out the rise here, just pull it this way so I get more volume. What I'm doing here is called pattern manipulation. I'm not drafting this one from scratch. I might do that with the shirt. So you can see here I've just pulled the crotch forward this way so I get more volume in the actual rise. And so there's going to be more fabric here. Actually, what I'd rather do is remove these curves. So I'm going to right click this line here that has curve points, and I can just choose delete all curve points. Doing that makes this flat. I mean, it's kind of unflattering, but that's how it's going to go right now. I'm going to do that to the back as well. And so we still have a curve in the front, so I can even, with more volume like this, I could even just take almost all of this away if I wanted. And let's see what happens. I haven't tried it with these pants. Yeah, so I'm going to get my drag lines going down this way, which I probably don't want, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that back. Another way to make these kinds of pants is to actually just, I might cheat. How much do I want to cheat right now? It's not that low actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and make adjustments. I do want to put this back in just because I don't like how this looks. So you can play around with Marvelous Designer in this way, and you can just keep, ooh. Don't know why it's doing that. I think I must have a curve point missing. There we go. So there's different ways to edit your curve, by the way. I'm using the Edit Curve Point tool by just adding curve points. And I can move those curve points specifically and individually, or I can just use the Edit Curvature tool and adjust it, like so. And this is pretty fine. I do want to remove this curve at the bottom because I don't like what it's doing. Even though I'm going to be tightening this around her leg, I don't like how it looks right now. So I'm just going to make this perpendicular, as you can see. And I'm going to do the same to the back. And looking again at this pant, the crotch is actually still my crotch is actually really low on this one. So I'm going to bring this back up, just because I was using it as an example. And I'm holding Shift to select them all and then move them all at the same time as well. And I can check and see where it's laying by right-clicking, and I can actually hide my pattern pieces. Just hide pattern, Shift Q, and I can see how low the rise is. You can snap curve point to the right. You can. I don't like turning that on though. Also, if you're having trouble with your curve points, if you zoom in closer, then you can adjust it. I'll show what again? Oh, well, we're doing Techwear, so we've kind of just picked this pair of pants, these joggers. So I'm making something similar to these. So we'll have pockets. Ooh, where'd it go? Where'd they go? Okay, here they are. And then we're gonna do also a jacket. But we're doing women's wear because there's not enough Techwear for women. So we're gonna do it for women. So I'm doing more work than I probably need to be doing, but it's okay because at least we're learning some things in the chat. Because, I mean, honestly, these are going to become a knit and then wrinkled at the ankle. And speaking of, I'm going to raise this ankle. And cheat. And then so yeah, also when you're, so it is Shift Q to hide patterns and to bring them back. So when I right click this, it also shows me obviously my options here. You can see the shortcut keys as well. So it is Shift Q to hide the pattern and Shift Q to bring it back. I can probably put sneakers on her later, but it doesn't really matter at this point. And if you hear noises, that is the foster cat deciding to get into trouble for the first time ever. Hi. What the fuck? What are you doing? She's trying to eat my tower at the moment. My computer tower, so that's fun. If you hear noises, that's what's happening. And I'm just going to be concerned most of the stream if she keeps doing this. So, what I've done here is I'm making a little cuff that's just going to be an elasticized cuff that's going to be tighter around her ankle than the rest of the pant. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to make a copy and a mirror copy that is also symmetrically linked. So I'm right-clicking this pattern, this little rectangle that I've made, and I'm choosing Clone Pattern with Linked Editing. The shortcut key is Control-D. Okay, so sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. If you've placed the mirror pattern on your avatar, hitting Control-F will do exactly what I just did. So I'm hitting Control-F, and it popped over to the other leg. And if you just noticed, for those who are new to Marvelous Designer, these are symmetrically linked patterns, so anything I do to one side is going to be done to the other. So you saw that sewing relationship created. I can also do that to the rest of the pant as well. And I have applied the cuffs. They don't really have them. I mean, they sort of do here, but they're not very. They're not as tall as some other Techwear cuffs are on some pants. Why does it keep leaving me? Okay, stay. So here I'm getting wrinkles. Mind you, this doesn't look the best because it is at 20 particle distance right now. Marvelous Designer, You sort of can. You're going to need to bring the rigid parts in as either OBJs or as trim, but the trim doesn't collide with any other material. So you can, you're just going to have to adjust the words are hard. You're just going to have to adjust the fabric properties as well, and the thickness of the fabric. So with Marvelous Designer, it is a cloth simulation program. We do not have specifically like semi-rigid or rigid materials as an option yet, though we are working towards that. But it is much more difficult than it is to simulate cloth, and so you can. There's just ways you're gonna have to work around it. Okay. So I still don't like how this crotch looks. But whatever. It's probably because I need to widen the pant leg. Or the waistband here. Which I'm going to do now. Let's just see what happens. I'm going to delete the curve points for the front and the back. And then I'm going to widen equally the front and the back. And reduce or increase the value of stretch for the waistband. And it just needs a bit more. I figured delete all curve points for the waist. And then I also just want to make this straight, and I'm just cleaning up my curve points on the rise or the crotch, and I'm just going to straighten that out. Line, bottom. And I do want to increase this again, or I'll just make another waistband, honestly. Unfold with symmetric editing, and then I'm just going to put this on front, turn off my arrangement points, and sew the waistband to itself, and then sew, actually I'll do it the other way. Sewing the waistband, I'm holding shift to select multiple pattern pieces here while during my sewing relationship, and I let go of shift. There we go. That's laying a little bit better. I can add cording to this in a bit. And then, now that I can see how it drapes with a waistband on, let's just see what happens if we just kind of curve the leg outward. What's going on with these curve points? So I'm just designing it at this point and seeing how it lays. So I'm designing it by drape at this point, as you can see me doing now. And I'm just going to keep referencing this pant. It is a little bit tighter on the leg, so I'm going to get more wrinkles, and I'm going to do a different method, and I'm going to cheat it by using the slash and spread method, because I don't have to make this perfectly match. So I'm going to be a cheater. So I don't know if you guys know this. This is actually in one of the textbooks that I like to actually reference sometimes. I'm going to adjust the curve point crotch again because I just noticed it's still not perpendicular. So what I'm going to do to get more wrinkles in on the exterior is I'm going to do something which is in a kind of a TR cutting type textbook. I'm going to slash and spread the legs and have the inner curve this way and the exterior curve the same direction. But by doing that, I'm going to add more volume to the outside of the leg and keep the inside of the legs curve the same. Thus, I'm going to get more wrinkles by doing this. This is going a little bit off this design, but we don't have to keep perfect to what I'm doing. And this way, you guys get to see the slash and spread options. So I'm actually going to just start from the crotch. I don't want to do it that way. I wanted to select the other one. And I can select the pattern that I want to move. Actually, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do it as equally as I can to the others. I can actually measure this out, but I'm just not going to for the sake of the stream. So we can actually get somewhere. So as you can see, I'm adding these points and I'm slashing and spreading it, and I'm going to be curving it in this way. So in doing so, I'm going to get more wrinkles on the outside, but it's going to cause me some problems with my fit in a minute, which is fine because I'll settle it as we go. But this is a fun design. This is why you'll see some pants that have just like the draping on the sides or a lot of wrinkles on the exterior. This is how they got those wrinkles. And to then move this, I'm going to select the lasso and lasso. Lasso. And you can do this at the end, but I'm just doing this for now just to show best practice, really. And to help it get settled, I am using the stiffen or the Shift H option, or Control H, because it is a little mad that I'm doing this. Reset. So you can see when I reset my 3D arrangement, it's wrapping around, and that is what's causing that issue. So to fix that, I'm just going to grab it and move it around a little bit here. Which one am I in? Okay, so I'm on this guy. Oop. Why not? Let's just see what happens. There we go. Yeah, that worked out. Control. Right, freeze that. And then pull this one back out. Reset 3D arrangement. There we go. And see, this is how I can get all that volume just in the leg. I'm still using the base material. Let's swap over and just make a, let's grab a knit. Jersey, terry, cotton rayon. Ooh, Ponte's gonna try the similar weight. Welcome. Oops, okay. Simulating. And then, this is actually pretty good for now. I think this is all I want to do. I don't have an add-on for that. I don't know, I wish I did. So that's why I'm saying it out loud. So right now I'm just cleaning this up, so I'm going to go ahead and delete these points, or actually convert them to curve points. So I'm right-clicking and then convert to curve points. Just so it cleans up my pattern. And then I am going to do the same to the backside. Convert to curve point, and then I can adjust and clean this up. I'm going to thin it out just a little bit. There we go. So we've still got wrinkles, we've still got draping. I'm going to see if I can cheat this, otherwise I'm going to have to pull and drag this out. And symmetric pattern with sewing, copy paste, Control F. Oh, worth a try. Yeah, it's really stiff like leather, but it's not going to be similar to rubber. So I just want you to know that you can get it really close, but it's not going to be exact. Okay, let's just make this. I'm just going to make this elastic. And I'll apply the knit. So we're getting there with the pants. I might want to zoom in, but I think that also might be created by just how they're standing. So let's see. I think I do want to reduce this, but I do need to add a pocket. So we're going to see. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just this. It's just similar. And I'm going to also clean up my curve points. Just so it's a little bit cleaner. And again, just make that 90. I don't like the waistband. Let's see what happens. still has elastic here. I'm using Control Z to just step back. I'm seeing if I want to have that waistband in there or not, but I'm also just going to remove the elastic from the lower portion of the pants so we get a more accurate fit. Yeah, if you go to unnest your tools, you can just go to the settings options and choose unnest. Settings, user settings. Where is it? User interface, group tools, and just turn that off. Let's see. I'm going to see how this looks when I bring it down back to 10. Because I will just get more wrinkles. Okay, I do want to take away some of the wrinkles there. Because I don't want them in the front, I want them everywhere else. Did I pick the wrong one? Oh, I did. And a tip for what I just did. So if I select a part on my pattern, it creates a blue dot here where I can interact with it using the gizmo, as well as it creates a little ghost, is what we call it. And this little ghost here indicates exactly where I've clicked on my pattern. So I can use this to tell me which pattern I'm supposed to be on, which I just realized I was on the wrong one. As well as I can use this to tell me, like, okay, well, I need to take in, if I simulate, I need to take in like that much. I can simulate, and then I can check and see that instead of just using the the tack tool, the fabric tack tool. I can do this other way. Okay, the volume in the back, and then remove the wrinkling in the front. Let's see how that works. A little bit better. I'll probably have to take some back out. And depending on how I want to do this, I can add more volume back into the hips. So where this is and where I've removed it, the hips are still here, so they're basically still in line with the crotch point. So if I just pull it back out, you can see here I'm adding more volume back into the hips. And you can see that it's taking the strain off of the rest of this pattern. It's not the prettiest thing at the moment, but right now we're just playing with fit. And her legs are still out, so I can also check and see her pose by going to Avatar, checking that off, and going back to her pose, putting it, let's just see what this looks like. Yeah, if you bend the leg patterns, like, it's really, really nice for, like, leggings. It's very successful. Here is just an example of adding the volume on the hips. I'm kind of getting a, you know, that weird jawed hopper look. But I can also kind of cheat it, too. Where if I don't want this volume, I can be a little cheater and, like, kind of vacuum it onto her legs. But I can see here that it is too big on the hips, like I saw. So again, I'm just playing around with it. Which is what makes Marvelous Designer so useful. Because now I can just adjust this and it's not real fabric and I don't have to worry. Okay, so I still have a problem with this. Ooh. Okay, where's my front pattern pieces? I put them down here. So this is doing a V, and I don't like it, so I'm going to see why it's doing that. So, the shape is cool. How do you create this curved pant pattern than a regular one we used to see? So I actually used the slash and spread tool and just slashed and spread along the inner inseam, and that's how I got this shape. So we can see also what's going on with the center front is that this is not straight on the rise. So when you're working with pants, this rise here is going to be up and down. This is your grounding point. This is telling you that this is always going to be perpendicular unless you design it otherwise. So this is telling me, because I'm lining them up basically, I can, let me do it this way. So I can see here, this is exactly what's happening on my pant by looking at the flat and matching them up vertically. So this is telling me that I need to either raise this crotch upwards or lower the sides. So what I'm going to do that's probably easier is I'm just going to see what happens when I raise this up. So it's straight. So that it's not pulling down like that. Though when I do this and when I rotate this pattern, because Marvelous Designer is working on cloth mechanics, the grain is going up and down in my bounding box here. So based also on the grain and how it's draping, it's going to drape different. Because if I put this on a diagonal, it's going to drape differently. So that's just a heads up with how you are rotating your UV patterns as well. Just keep that in mind. Reduce that so that this is, there we go. I'll take that, and then I think this is gonna be fine. Do we want more wrinkles in the leg? Because I can keep curving this leg. Yes, thank you. I know please asks, I wanted to ask, are you going to be doing more follow along videos and tutorials like you did under help/tutorials? Because half of the videos on there you didn't do personally and are hard to follow. I am currently working on some more videos and tutorials for everyone. Feel free also to suggest what you would like to see to us in this, where's my cheat sheet? Both on stream and for tutorials. You can send it to us here. But this is specifically for tutorial requests and stream requests. We do not answer any support tickets, and so just make sure to send support tickets to support. I'd like to feel free to submit requests for different types of streams. This is the first one we're doing of you guys just watching me just designing something. Let's see, going back to Pinterest. Okay, here it is. Let's add some more wrinkles to the side here. So, for the person that came in that asked about how I did that curve pant, I'm going to show you. I'm going to add a curve here. So I like how this is fitting. What I want to do now is just add a curve here, and then I can start doing the pocket, because I'm not going to let it collide with the pocket. So I'm going to use slash and spread to do this. So this is going to be on the front and the back. I'm just going to be doing one. And Eric's in the chat typing for me most of the time. And it seems that someone had asked on the Twitch chat that Eric answered on the YouTube chat, which was the material. What material choose from the left panel to render for it to become the physical property as well. Eric wrote for me the you can also use bonding or on a selected pattern or internal shape to make the material more firm, and you can find this option in the property editor. Or so to do that, I'll just show you that really quick before I move this pattern. I can select my specific pattern and go down to bond and skive, and I can do bonding there. Bonding is making it a little bit stiffer, and it's not using the temporary harden option or strengthen option, which is Control H. I called it harden because it's an H key. Okay, so I'm going to use slash and spread. So by doing this, I'm curving my the exterior. So I'm going to be adding more volume here. So I can check and see exactly where I want to put more volume. So if I want to put more volume here, I can reference using my ghost on the front pattern piece, exactly where I want to put it, and then add the volume. And I'm selecting the lower portion because I want the waistband to be straight or parallel with the ground. So it's going to adjust the entire pattern. And I'm going to give it more success by freezing everything but the ones that have moved. Just because it's curving a lot. So you'll see me here doing Control H to strengthen, just so it pops back out. And I'll do Control H to unstrengthen that again. There we go. It's a new keyboard, so I'm kind of pressing multiple keys at the same time by accident. So as I'm curving it and adding more volume, it's bringing it all the way down. I kind of didn't like how that looks, so I'm going to take that away. This is a personal preference. I can use history as well, but I'm just using Control Z to step back until I can get rid of this. Okay, cool. Come on. There we go. Stick with this for now. I just want to see how this looks if I do negative pressure. Because you can utilize negative pressure to also specifically target where you want wrinkles to be. Whereas this one, so what I've done here is this is the side that has negative pressure, and this is the side that has no pressure at all. So with negative pressure, I can create and specifically engineer where I want my wrinkles to be as well, and just kind of see how I like it. I'm gonna try to tighten this leg though, because this was made from our base pant leg. And see how I've narrowed the leg. It looks weird though, so I'm just gonna bring it back. So let's go ahead and add the pockets. A lot of you have probably seen this before, just on the actual tutorials. I am using the internal polygon tool here to just kind of draft my pocket and see where it's going to lay. Do I work in the industry? I work for Marvelous Designer as a trainer. I don't know why I keep putting it on the back. I need to fix this. There. There we go. Now I know which is which. Throwing myself off. And I teach people in the industry how to use the program, our program, to do this and to make clothes for games and film and the like. Close that. I have a fashion background, to answer your question. And costuming background. We'll just see how this looks. I'm probably going to want to make this not that style. Back to editing my curve points. I'm going to convert this to a curve point as well. And I'm just going to edit this curve using the C key and swapping in between. And a good tip for your pockets is to square this off if you can. By squared off, I mean add a point just to the edges so that you end up making a squared off corner. And extend and trim. So this can happen sometimes. If I was to cut this, this pattern would actually still be connected. So I'm just using right click, extend and trim to pattern outline. And now I can do this and make this line as square as I can. It'll help it look a little bit better later. And that one's already on the edge, so I can use our little cheat guides. Simulate, okay. And then I'm going to make the pocket bag. Not that it's going to at all be seen underneath the coat, but we'll know what's there. And that's the important part. Yep. Using the trace tool, I am selecting my pocket bag first. Trace this pattern. This is a pocket bag, so this is what your pocket's going to be. This is just so I can get that lip here. Do I want to make it 2 layers? I don't know, we'll see. No one's going to see it, but... Cut. And... I'm making the symmetrical pocket on the other side. So what this is going to do is I'm then going to create a sewing relationship. I'm just going to cheat it. I'm not going to do how you would in a real pattern. So I'm using the free sewing tool, which is the M hotkey, to sew the pocket bag to that internal line, as well as, now that I've deleted the previous sewing relationship, I'm going to take the pocket and then sew to the waistband. Oh, this is what we're doing for now. We're doing joggers, and then I'm going to be doing probably a ski jacket type with a bunch of pockets as well. And of course, pockets everywhere and hardware. And we'll see how far we get, and I'll probably have to end at, I will have to end at in like an hour and a half, so we'll see how far we get. That's why I'm like, okay, we're just gonna move on. Just so we can actually probably finish. So with Marvelous Designer, it is pretty intuitive and it's fun. I can actually, once you've created a sewing relationship, like this guy will fly right into the pant. So what I can also do, and escape. Before I forget, I am going to use the superimpose option. And, okay, where are you? Superimpose this underneath the rest of this pant. So I've created the sewing relationship. I've deleted that one piece, and I can see where my pocket bag is. I'm going to right click, superimpose under. Just in case, I'm going to freeze, and do the same to the other pieces. So the reason I'm freezing it is that it makes it so that I don't have to worry about collision. It's freezing it so it doesn't really get counted into the algorithm as much. I'm using Control K to freeze. Superimpose under and simulate. That's fine. I figured that would happen. This way it's not slingshotting together. But I want to make this lower, so I'm just going to make this layer 1, and that'll throw the pocket bag behind it. Yeah, so it avoids the collision issues because, okay, I'll show you. Because if I had my pocket bag all the way out here, it could be perfectly fine. Or, oh, I've already had the value. Right there. Layer 0. Layers are great for layering, as you can see, it made it really easy. Or, sometimes it'll slingshot in and it'll clip around like you've experienced or described. So me doing it this way makes it a lot easier to work with. So now I've already got my pocket. I have a working pocket, and so we'll put some side pockets next. Technically, I'm probably going to remove this inner line, but we're going to see what happens because I'm going to be adding the pockets on these sides like we have here. And so that way I don't have the indent. I'm going to give this negative pressure just because I like the wrinkles. Yeah, working in layers is really good, but once you've done that as well, because I use the layer to throw it back, I'm going to make them back to layer 0, just because the layer's already been established. As well as for the rest of this, for the pocket and for the waistband, I don't need that simulating, because I'm not doing anything to it while I'm working on these next pockets, so I am going to freeze them using Control K. So again, this is what we're basing this off of. We're not doing the exact same thing because this is obviously menswear. So I'm going to be applying those pockets, which are fun, and I can show you a little cheat for that. Dangle, khaki is a color. I don't know what kind of material you're looking for. Most often, if you're thinking of khaki, like work pants, that would be a twill, but also denim is a twill. How's the garment fit map looking? Let's take a look. fitting pretty fine. It's tight on the waistband just because it's got elastic and it's frozen, that's why. But it's not too tight. Looking okay. Little strain here just because this is all knit, so looking good, I think. Khaki is a color. If you're asking about like khaki work pants, you're going to be working with twill or a twill canvas. Just like silk is a fiber, there's different types of weaves. So silk can be a satin and it can also be a twill. Actually, I wonder. You're not the first person to ask about fabric weaves. So I'm just curious if I can find a quick one. I have a textbook that has all the fabric types. Yeah, here. So for a resource, here's just a quick website of different types of fabric weaves. So you would be looking for a twill weave, so you can look through the fabric types and choose a twill. And you can see the different types of twill. So that's why in Marvelous Designer we don't have, under our fabrics, I keep getting distracted. Under our fabrics we don't, oh my gosh, okay. Under our fabrics we don't have khaki, but we have twill, or we'll have denim. So you want to look at, so ours are sorted by fibers and knits. So you'd probably be looking for a cotton canvas or a cotton twill. So I believe it would be under here, cotton twill. You know, I actually haven't seen Cyberpunk. I haven't been able to play. All I know is about Cyberpunk is my friend's been playing it, and she just keeps breaking the game and having fun with it. So I don't have an opinion on the Cyberpunk costumes. Alright, so going back to my Pinterest picture. Okay. So what I'm going to do is get a front and a back. Which one is which? Using the ghost. Okay. And cleaning up my workspace, or cleaning up my UV in this case. Just so I know which is which and where is what. Oh, Eric loves them. Yeah, I honestly haven't had a chance to see them at all, but I liked the jacket. I liked the original jacket. It looked really cool. And I wanted to make that. Yeah, they seem really cool in Cyberpunk. I think Eric's actually seen it more than I have. Pictures of them, at least. I think I've been busy playing, like, I think Phasmophobia. Hunting ghosts. You know? I gotta hunt me some ghosts. Yeah, maybe we can do that in another stream. Come up with our own Cyberpunk costume design. It'll be interesting because even the coats are going to require bringing in floating OBJs. Okay, so coming back to pockets, I'm going to be putting a pocket here, probably like starting up here, looking at this pant, because it's going to be a long pocket. And just for the chat, for the person who said it earlier, I'll give her sneakers. Boots are fun. Yeah, we'll do sneakers. Come on. And you can see it clipping through her leg. This is perfectly fine for now. She's, the pant is at toe any particle distance, and so I haven't reduced it at all just for the sake of working in it. So let's go ahead and make the pocket. I'm going to make the pocket bag first. So pockets are called pocket bags as well. In here, you've heard me say it before. This is going to be a long boy. Let's see how this looks. So I'm doing it this way, which a lot of people tend to do if they don't realize you can use the arrangement points. I'm just arranging it here to see how long it is. It's definitely too long. And then we'll add the top to it. Okay. So I've created basically this guy. I'm going to make the pocket in a minute. Right, what's the difference between fabric and a textile texture? What is the difference between a fabric and a textile texture? I think another way to rephrase that maybe might be the fiber type. So like a silk versus a twill or a satin weave. So it's the weave versus the fiber. So if I could technically make a knit out of, I could make a twill knit. This is a box weave knit here because the fibers stretch themselves. So it's going to be a stretchy box weave. So I could also do a stretchy satin. So a satin has a bunch of floats, so that's what makes it shiny. Whereas like I could have a cotton satin or a silk satin, and it's just the fiber that's different, and so it's going to drape and feel different to the touch. This is real life, but this also does technically apply to Marvelous Designer. Let me see if I have the fabric set. Let me see, do I have this? So this is an example. We have a polyester satin lining. It's a lighter weight. But we also have a Duchess satin, which is made of silk. So there's weaves and then there's fibers. So your fiber is going to be the material it's made of. The weave is going to be how it's going to drape, the density, and the weight, for example. So yeah, I hope that makes a little bit more sense. The link I sent you should give you a little bit of an introductory to it, because you could use like a denim, because that's cotton. It's just really heavy twill. But you can also use cotton to make a sateen, which is a shiny cotton that looks similar to a satin, but it's not. It's not the same as the denim. They have different applications. So you wouldn't use a satin to make a workwear pant because it's really shiny, and in real life it has all of these floats. If you look at the if you look at the link that I sent to the chat, those floats make it so that the fibers are reflective and it looks soft and shiny. But the problem with those floats is that in practice, those are more likely to be snagged and for it to cut the fabric or to cut the fiber. So that's why you wouldn't take satin and make it into a denim, into a work pant for that application. You technically could take satin and make a pant out of it. It's just going to be not as strong as a twill would be, or a twill weave, because the twill weave has the least amount of floats and it has a denser weave than, for example, a box weave. That's why a lot of workwear pants, like someone referenced earlier, which were the Docker style pant or denim. That's why denim is expensive, but also because it's such a dense material, because it's woven that way. It's meant to be stronger and resist be like the fibers breaking because of how it's woven. Okay, pockets. So I'm actually going to take this and I can make my fabric transparent. And I'm going to center this as best I can. And just to make it easier on my life, I'm superimposing the pocket over this just so I can see. This is going directly over that side seam. So me doing this, I can see where I'm going to put it, ish. Or I can at least split it in half as best I can. I can then adjust it later, but it helps because I'm going to add points where it's overlapping. We do have one of the older tutorials does teach this. So then what I'm going to do is right click and I can't remember which tool I'm supposed to do this under. Okay. I'm going to use the trace tool. I'll move that. Ah, here it is. Right click and then choose clone as internal shape. So now I can align this back up with where I want to place it on the pant as close as I can. And it's going to appear on the pant. So this is on the pant back. I can then do the same thing. Clone as internal shape. Actually, I'm going to make a mirror paste. Oh. Mirror paste, and then I can clone as an internal shape and place there. And then I can line them up. The only reason this is a little bit difficult is because this is curved. So I'm going to match up here first. By folding this in half, I can also, so I can take this center point here, this is a pivot point, I can double click it to make it orange. Oop, and accidentally grab it. And move the pivot point to anchor it at that side seam, and then I can move this and pivot it to make it match a little bit better. I'm going to actually do the opposite of this right now, which is inflate it, just so I can there it is, more easily apply this. So I think that I want to, let's see where this is looking. I like where this is in the front, so I'm going to move it down. So I'm referencing this because this is exactly where this is going to sew into the pant. So I'm just going to move down the other one to match it as close as possible because I can adjust this in a minute. But matching the points is going to be helpful. This top point doesn't matter as much, but I can adjust it and make it match if I want to. And see here, so if I want to perfectly match these up, this is going to be a good example. So this is a challenge only because this is curved. So I'm going to make it a little bit easier and curve this to match and line up. So this is another way to do this as well. So it's called walking the pattern in this case. I can, but I'm doing it in this way. This is the hard way if you're working from flat pattern. I could just draw on the 3D line. I'm just showing you the hard way. There's multiple ways to do the same thing. I'm just showing it this way if I want to keep my pattern, to keep my pocket shape the exact same. So if I'm using the pocket as my reference, I'm doing it this way. But if you just want to draw your pocket on and then extract it that way, you totally can. This is just the hard way. But it's easier to learn it the hard way so that you can do it your preferred way later. And normally it's not this troublesome either. It's only because I have such a severe curve. So here it's matching and meeting up. I can just overlay them over each other. Like this. And then, because the reason I'm doing this is so that you can see that I can also do this, because not a lot of people know this. I can right click and just in the 2D window, and I can lock my pattern outlines. So now that they're lined up, I've superimposed them and I can check this bottom piece. And I can adjust this if I need to. I've already done it in a different way, but if I needed to, like, I can see here that this isn't matching up perfectly. I can then just move it to line up a little bit better so that it lays square. So this is the walking your pattern way. This is the fashion design way, but obviously drawing it on is a little bit easier, but you can't really do that with if you already have an established existing pocket. Or it's a little bit more difficult to do with an established existing pocket. So this is one way to do this. Because if you like how this pocket turns out, you can save this specific pocket asset and export it as a garment, and you could create your own whole list of different pockets with the actual pattern pieces like provided, so that you can save this and then bring it in as an asset in future projects. But if you make it specifically new each time for your garment, then yeah, you can do it whatever way you want, but you can also, but then you can't really extract it and then save it for another project as easily. Does Marvelous Designer have plans to make the program more real-world friendly so it could utilize 3D body scans like Alvanon uses and export the pattern using usable CAD templates? Currently, Marvelous Designer doesn't plan to do that, but we already have a software that does do that called Clo 3D, or Clo, and that software specifically is catered toward the fashion industries and does allow Alvanon forms. You can actually bring in a body scan here, but you would need to export it as an OBJ. And it also does export and import DXF files. So Marvelous Designer is catered towards the film industry. It is not catered towards the fashion industry, which is what those features you are talking about are specific to. Though we do have, in Marvelous Designer 10, we do have the ASTM avatar sizes, which are the standardized, like the closest, one of the many standardized forms for dress form sizes. Those avatar sizes are fit to those dress forms. Super easy. I will show you how to do it. That's why I'm doing it the hard way. Because I actually have done it for a few different streams, I think, or at least some other tutorials, because I've done the pocket tutorials, and that's where I did it. So let me just finish this pocket up. I'm going to unfreeze this. But I'm going to also make the pocket a little bit better. So I'm unlocking all my pattern outlines, and I'm going to straighten out my pocket. And I'm going to readjust this pant. Rotate, x-axis, and I'm making the waistband on the x-axis. So now I have my outlines of my pocket. I can then sew it to those points. Oh wait, I don't want to sew it yet. I want to add some width to it. So I want to make this into an actual like cargo pocket. So to do that, there's an easy option for this. I can select one of my lines. I can offset pattern outline, so you can do it as an internal line or you can do it as an outline. I'm making sure to create an internal line. And I'm currently working in millimeters, so a 1/2 inch is 12.5 millimeters, so I'm just going to do a 1/2 inch. And I'm doing unfilled corner, just because I can then apply it to the rest of this. Offset pattern outline. Oh. Sometimes that works. Offset pattern outline, 12.5. Okay. And now that I have how my pocket's going to look on the top, I can then add the sides to it quite easily using the offset pattern outline option. Yeah, so what Eric said, I will show you guys how to do in a second. I just gotta make the pocket. But I accidentally deleted a quarter. That's what's doing it. Okay. Offset pattern outline, 12.5. It's going to be a thin pocket, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. Yeah, so if you were to save this pocket, I'm going to say it and then I'll show it to you, because Eric typed it out for me. So what you can do is you save the pocket, but you also save your sewing relationship. You take this and you put it on another rectangle, unmodified, and then you export these two, including your pocket flap. You export all of that as one garment, and you can call it cargo pocket, or you can make a whole bunch of pockets and then just bring them into your project, but sometimes that can overload your project depending on how high res you've exported it at. But I don't need this. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I can create my sewing relationship. Oh, did I do it backwards? Totally did it backwards. There we go. And I'm using free sewing, using my anchor point at the bottom as my reference, and then using that little ghost that appears. And just so it looks nice and pretty, I'm using the internal lines, selecting all of them, and I'm giving them a 0-degree fold angle so that they'll pop out. And there's my very simple cargo pocket. And now I'm going to create my pocket flap. So the other trick for this is when you're creating your pocket, you do want to use the whichever is going to be perpendicular or is your perpendicular rule to gravity. So I'm using the front of my pocket as that rule, so it's going to match with this piece. And rotate it. So it'll probably be a little bit curved here. Maybe in this case I'll just draw it on for everybody. In this case we'll just draw it so we can see the example. Ooh, chat's going fast. I will be doing the straps in Marvelous Designer, yes. Okay, so this tool I'm using was referenced earlier. This is the draw on, here. This is the line 3D pattern tool, so I can just draw directly on the garment using backspace to backspace, and then I can see how this looks as a 2D line. If I like it, I can just go ahead and convert to internal shape. And now I have my internal line. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and create a rectangular piece that is the same length as the pocket bag, or probably a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. And I'll probably end up adjusting this, but so I'm just going to go ahead and sew this new tab or pocket flap to the internal line that we created. It's probably going to be the wrong size, but that's fine. Superimpose over, and I'm just pulling this out. So yeah, it is definitely too small, and I figured it was. So I'm just going to pull this out. That looks a little bit better. Close that library tab again. And this is just a very simple pocket, so you can actually take this and export that as just a garment on its own. So I could actually tell it was too small because it was pinching. I also saw the measurement, so it's 160 and it's 71 and 75. It's actually still too small because that makes it 140 something. You can also check if something's too small by the strain map sometimes, but it's so minuscule it doesn't really matter because I'm working in millimeters. If this was inches and that was a huge difference, then yeah. Then let's add a little tab, because that one's got a little tab. This is just the placeholder for now, just so we can at least get the look down, because I have an hour left. Less than an hour left. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and sew it to the pocket. Normally I would sew it underneath the pocket, but that's fine too. Just for the sake of moving on, because we're supposed to make a kotsu. That'll be webbing eventually. And now I'm just going to give it a little bit of a fold line. And just flip the normal. Oh, I did the wrong way. This is 10 particle distance, but that's fine. You know, like little tap of webbing. So we have that pocket. And because they're symmetrically linked, I can then just go ahead and select the entire pocket, symmetrical pattern with sewing, move it in my workspace. And this is the one time when I'm not going to do superimpose over. I'm going to pull it while they're all selected because it's already been simulated and it's just a mirror copy. I'm going to pull it as close as I can to the pant through the hands. And there we go. So let's go ahead and change the color on this just so at least we have a pant done. I'm going down to color. I don't need to do anything to the texture. Okay, let's see, I kind of want to make it a little shiny because this one's a little bit satiny, so we'll do that. Hey, if you know a good program for screencasting the keys, let us know, because I haven't been able to find any, and I've been looking. That looks nice. Because otherwise you're just screencasting your entire keyboard, and it's just smack in the middle of the screen. Yeah, if you know a good program name, let us know. And then, ooh, let's make the straps for the leg. This time I do want her legs to be standing open. So I'm going to have to manually move them again using her skeleton very carefully because I do have 5 particle distance. That's fine. What I should have done was make a pose, but that's okay. Yeah, if you know a good key capture, let me know, because I've been looking for one and I just can't seem to find one. Didn't want to do that. If you've been here, is this the light? Do I have the link? Okay, thank you. You can send us the key logger here if you want. Oh, that's why. Ah! Yeah, because I haven't been able to find one. This looks like super green, and I really don't like that it looks super green, so we're gonna change that. Okay. So now that I've opened her stance, I'm just going to add the webbing, and for now it's just going to be a thin 1-inch wide strip, so I'm going to be choosing 12.5 is 25 millimeters. We'll just make the height 500. And I'll be sewing it from the exterior of the pocket. So I'm going to move this a bit down here just so I can see it. And doing the upper portion. Superimpose, and this time I'm doing side. And everything but this I am freezing. So I'm selecting the what's going to be my strap, and then I'm going to invert my selection, and I'm going to freeze with Control K. Then I'm going to take that. Normally a better practice would be to just straight up actually like put points there, but I didn't think that ahead of time. I'm going to take some of the strap and move over here. So it glitches a little bit less because I am just slapping them on. Come on. There you go. And this time I am increasing the particle distance to 10 and doing the exact same thing. In the 2D window, I'm selecting my strap and creating a symmetrical pattern with sewing. And because it's already been simulated and it's symmetrical, I can just drag it into place as best I can. And I'm going to unfreeze it all and unharden. Looking back at my reference, I can increase the length. Again, just looking at the reference picture here. Yep. You can see that they are a little bit, some of them are down and some of them are tight. And the reason behind this is, oh, did I select the wrong side? I did. I don't want it on the exterior, I want it on the interior. B, to edit my sewing line. And I'll just reapply it. And the reason I'm doing it on the interior is because the whole point of that strap is to hold in place anything in the pockets and to stabilize those pockets if, say, for example, you're running because they're joggers. So doing it on the interior, I'm going to match up the notches. And adjust my sewing using the Edit Sewing tool. I'm just going to make the notches match with the other notches. And these lines are notches. These little perpendicular lines here, those are called notches. There we go. Because that would actually hold it in place. So now I can technically make all of my extra pieces, but we only have a little bit of time left. I'll just add it in place. Download that. So here then I would be adding my buckle. I'll probably be doing that or like right at the end, just because I don't need that simulating right now. Because we're going to go and probably move on to the jacket next. So looking at these pants, it looks like the adjustable strap is just inside the legs, so that'll make it easy. But just so it looks nice, I'll just make it look like we have it there, just so we can see it while we're adding the jacket. And make an interior line, just right in the middle. Using the N hotkey for the sewing, just to segment sew this. And I'm just going to do the same thing I've been doing. Right click, symmetric pattern with sewing, so I don't have to do everything twice. There we go. Just so we have our fabric falling down. Just so we know that it's there. My placeholder is going to be these for now, just so we can actually move on to the jacket. Now before I do anything else, I am going to clean up my UV map, or my patterns here, because this does become your UV if you want them to be. My pocket. Because next I'm going to be locking this all, and then we'll start working on the jacket. And just another note, I am keeping this at 20 particle distance because even when it's frozen, if it's a higher particle distance or at 10, it can cause slowing down of my computer, especially when I'm doing multiple layers. Oh. So it's best practice to start bringing down my particle distance after I'm done. Reset. There. Because just for fun, let's just make these the pants just so we can see them. Let's make them 10 because they wouldn't be going any lower than that anyway. And I'll change the pose. And this can sometimes happen. Everything but the pockets is going to become layer 1. This collision issue, I've made all of them a higher layer than the pocket, and so that's going to fix my layering problem. It should be a 1080p stream. That's what I'm streaming at. And library pose, I'm going to put her back in. This pose, because I messed up her legs. And now she's standing. There it goes. I'll take a look. I don't know why it's not at 1080p. Because that's how I've defaulted at. I've defaulted the stream at 1080p. Okay. BrowseTube, thank you for letting us know. I'll have to take a look at that again. I had some streaming issues connecting with YouTube earlier, and it looks like you're connected to YouTube as well. Because the YouTube chat isn't even connected either. Or lower res, not 1080p. Because this is the first time it's been that much of a problem. Or I've had any issues with YouTube. Because we're using Restream for this. So we'll probably have to fix that and double check that for future streams, but thank you for letting us know. So I'm going to freeze this and see how far we can get with the jacket in 30 minutes. So it's all frozen. It's at layer 0. I am going to then move the pant pattern out of my way. Normally I would put elastic in here or another value of like a zipper, but right now we'll just move forward because I can always do that afterwards. Let's look at the jackets because I was thinking just a large oversized jacket with pockets on it because we'll reuse those pockets that we made earlier. So let's find just an oversized jacket. I'll probably just start off with the base garments that we've got. Can probably just get away with the hoodie. Let's see. Add. Not open, otherwise you lose all your work. And I'm gonna use the retarget draping. This will take a minute. Yeah, I can't really fix it right now, but thank you for letting me know, BrowseTube. I will take a look at it before. This is the first time I've seen it not at 1080p. Or that we've had someone say that, so we'll take a look at it afterwards. We're still trying to figure out the Restream update. And the YouTube update with it. Alright, cool. So this is pretty good. This is a good start to the jacket. So what I just did was I brought in a base sweater that exists. And I just made this. I used the retarget draping, which is in Marvelous Designer 10 and above. And I'm seeing if I like the fit of this one. Oh no! What a thought. Readjust that, Control K, unfreeze, reset 3D arrangement, bring that back down, okay, and freeze. Okay. So we'll see this. I do also have another one that I might want to just show you. I'm going to do a different pattern. So I want to actually show you a different type of armhole. Because we're not going to get super far. We'll probably continue this maybe like next week or so. In the next stream, we'll probably continue this just so we can get it finished. But I don't like the hoodie on her in front of this. I want an actual, like, Gore-Tex coat pattern. It's like everything moved when I retarget draped it. I think that's what happened. So I'm just going to undo this all and just steal that shirt pattern. because retarget draping isn't really meant for this stage. I would probably save my pants at this point and export it, but I'm just gonna be a troublemaker. And not do as I say. Add to workspace. I'm not going to be importing it. Okay, I'm going to take this sleeve, and I'm going to show you two different sleeves. So this is a normal sleeve, and what happens with these sleeves is that the jacket will move more when she raises her arms. So sometimes in the next pattern that I'm going to show you, which is one of my personal patterns, it has more volume under the arm, which allows the wearer to lift their arms, and it doesn't affect the drape of the actual coat. So moving this, I'm going to be adding a background image, image file, and I'm choosing my ski coat. So this is a ski coat of mine. Probably do it at 50%. Let's see. I want to see where it hits her. I want to do it, let's try 60. No, it has to be 55. So what I'm doing right now is I'm fitting it. These lines are, this is from a different software that I made this in like a year or so ago, a couple of years ago, where I exported it with outlines so I could cut this pattern, and I just colored it for a technical package. So for the sizing, generally you want to have it match or be a little bit bigger, since this is a coat, the shoulder length. So that's what it's doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try at 55%. And then what I'm going to do is trace this. So I'm using the polygon tool, and I'm going to be tracing my pattern. I'm holding Control to make curve points, and then letting go of Control to make straight lines, and I'm doing the backspace to take a single step back in history and not like cancel the entire creation. So I know this pattern well, which is why I'm doing it on the inside, because I know that that's my seam allowance. And then this arrow is for my grain. But I'm going to make the body, and then I'll show you the difference in the sleeves and how they fit, because I think that's kind of cool. Because sometimes Gore-Tex is also, like, this is literally a ski coat a ski coat pattern. I'm not going to be doing the pocket, because this is an actual pocket pattern. We're going to be doing a different design, and I'm going to be merging these. Marvelous Designer has an auto trace feature, but it's only if you're importing already existing files. This one I'm tracing a pattern that I already have, just for the sake of time, because I don't have the stream for all day, unfortunately, today. So you're noticing as I'm zooming in more and more, that way I can have a more accurate trace to whatever this is. And there's my pocket bags. Okay. Eyeball that center. Well, the thing with auto tracing is it may or may not come in, because a lot of the time there's no reason to auto trace from an image, and also just beware, I'm tracing a picture of something I already own. So auto tracing a picture and then makes it a little, like, I don't know what we're doing, but I don't want you guys to be considering stealing someone else's work, for example, and then just tracing that. even if it's a 2D pattern. So this is my other sleeve. This is the interesting sleeve I wanted you guys to see. So in Gore-Tex, you can also have, not Gore-Tex, but for like the ski pattern, this winged sleeve allows for you to raise your arms without it moving your torso. I'm gonna actually make that the top. So you'll see there's more volume underneath her arms, which I feel like would be applicable to, you know, this Gore-Tex design, because like it's probably a ski coat or a winter coat. Obviously it's oversized and big and fluffy. And you'll ignore the words on here. This is just sewing and cutting information for real life, not for this. Like I literally own this exact colorway because I made it. And we'll give her her cuff. No, we won't. We're not gonna do the cuff. We'll do that. We'll add that later. And this one's a little bit different too. The only reason this pattern's different is because this includes a little pocket in the actual sleeve. So I've got most of this done. So I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, I gotta trace the collar. And I'm making my segment points matching those lines, which are notches, just because I know exactly how this pattern is sewn, and those notches indicate that that's where it's going to sew into the armhole or into the neck. And I'm going to remove my background image by right-clicking my background and then just hitting reset, and now I have my pattern. First thing I want to do is sew these together, because I don't need these gussets. They actually are just there for the design and for the pocket, which is gone. So using the edit sewing tool, I can just merge them. And then I'm going to unfold, right click, unfold with symmetric editing for the back and the collar. And I'm selecting the front and the arm, and I'm going to symmetric pattern with sewing. And here's what I wanted to show you. Is how they laid. But okay, we'll wait. I'm gonna freeze that. And we'll wrap this around her and see how it fits. Face. And for the back, we'll do the same. And I'm going to create sewing relationship for the sleeves. As you can see, I'm sewing it in 3D, in the 3D window. You can always do it in the 2D window as well. I just happen to be there checking my work. And then I'm probably going to throw the collar on. No. And sew the collar in. I know that this length, how much, what side does that, okay, this goes here. And then this goes to the back. And then I can sew these together. Just sewing those torso pieces. And then these sleeves. I'm going to freeze one of them just so you can see the difference. And I'm going to put this sleeve on her. And then we'll probably have to end it soon, but that way you can see the two different styles of sleeve, which is always fun. I'm gonna move. I don't want you. Okay. I'm gonna put this on there too. Remembering that this is, I can follow my sewing as well, actually. So normally I'd have notches, but I didn't do that. So I can watch which direction this is going. So this is going front to back. So I'm going to start from front to back. And I'm going to deactivate that sleeve. And then sew this one front to back. That's just going to bother me. Now this sleeve isn't meant for it, but it'll still give us a good example of the fit. And I'm going to have to resize the sleeve anyway. I have missed the chat. Well, that's a good idea, but it's also just a heads up. If you made your own pattern and someone took it and put it into software and then scanned it and then claimed that they designed it, how would you feel? Just keep that concept in mind. And then they, you know, said that they designed it for a video game. So that's just something to be aware of. If that feature was to come to life, that's something that would potentially become a problem. Browse tube. Yeah, you can, if you have Marvelous Designer 10, you can do, you can use the auto-fitting tool to do that. It'll get you sort of there, but it won't get you all the way there. You will have like some warping in your pattern just because it's applying a very specific type of grading rule, but it's a good way to get you started to fitting your custom avatar. Okay, so this is the interesting thing. I'll make this 10. So with this pattern, this is a different type of sleeve. This is a bat wing, or this is a wing sleeve. It's up here versus this one. You can see. So there's basically a gusset already put into the pattern. So with this sleeve, I can then raise my avatar's arms straight up, and this side won't change the fit. Let's see if we have a pose for version 2. Yeah, we do. Okay. So you can see here that this one isn't changing as much as this one on the left side of the screen. Because there's more volume underneath the arms, it allows the character or the avatar to move more, or the person. So that's just an interesting thing about that specific type of a pattern. But we'll move her back down. I was just impatient. Turn off sim. Okay, and I'll bring the actual sleeve in. Control D makes a symmetrically linked pattern piece. Simulate that. I can already tell it's still too small. So I'm gonna make it slightly bigger. And now I can start making some pattern edits. I still want this to be oversized, so let's actually... We have 5 minutes left on the stream, and then I'll bring us to the closing window and give you guys those same resources again. So I'm going to make this bigger so it's a little bit more oversized. And I'm selecting both the front and the back. I'm going to have to fix my sleeve as well. So I want this to be lower on her, so I'm just going to go ahead and take those lower pattern pieces and then just lower that hip line. And adjust those curve points. Turning off simulation just so I can see how it's going to look. I'm going to type in nylon because I know the closest in Marvelous Designer is going to be the nylon canvas. So I'm choosing material and then it'll show me the weight type, so I'm choosing canvas. So normally I would make this Gore-Tex, but I'm just going to go ahead and drag and drop canvas on it because that is the closest base one that we've got. I think this one had pressure. And now, just for the example of showing you how to reuse assets pretty quickly, just to get us at least somewhere, I'm copying and pasting that pocket. So I'm doing the interior line first. And I'm gonna shorten them at the same time. Taking those exact same pieces, Control C, Control V, and then just going to select those two together and then shrink them equally. I don't need that. There we go. this should sew into that. Okay. If I don't keep grabbing those pieces. Now I can just sew it into one of the pockets. Oh, why'd I pull it down here? Just grab all of it, please. Oh, that's why. I was grabbing the interior lines, not the exterior lines. Okay, bringing this up because it's already been in position and I've already simulated it once. I'm just going to maneuver it. All selected at the same time, like I did before. And I'm reusing that same asset, but I've manipulated it just a little bit. And I'm using the world gizmo, by the way. Oh, I forgot I froze it. It's fine though. And unfreeze. And last but not least, we'll just go ahead and move these a little bit down. Because now I'm just figuring out where I want to put the pocket. But at least we'll have a pocket by the time we're done with the stream. And internal line, I'm just going to go ahead. Trace. I'll just draw it like a normal person. Okay, there. I will narrow this down to match it a little bit better and sew it on. There. What does the layers do? So the layers are doing exactly this. So this is layer 1. This pocket is layer 0. If I make it layer 2, like the rest of them, they're gonna pop out and be the second layer value. So now they're layer value number 2, so they're above anything below. But once you're done, like settling your layers, you do want to make everything back down to 0. So that doesn't cause you any collision issues. But that is the start. We'll probably do some more adjusting to this jacket, but that probably will be maybe next week or the week after that. So you guys can just watch the process from start to finish. I'm going to go ahead and end it for now. Thank you guys for joining the stream. I'm sorry that we've had some issues with the chat box. The pants are pretty much done. We need to add buckles and more detail, but that's going to come after I've done everything else. We will continue next time so that you can watch it happen. I will make a another stream announcement on our YouTube and the like so that you can be aware of when it's going to happen next. Let me grab the links again for everybody. So here's our Discord. So if you are encountering problems or if you just want to talk with other users for Marvelous Designer, our Discord is our most active community for now. We of course have our website, which does have the forum community, but it's going to be slower because it is a forum. And let me link you the beginning tutorial links. So those are some of the beginner tutorials to use Marvelous Designer. You'll see a lot of the things that I did here in those beginner level tutorials. They're really great building concepts. I think that's it. Yes, and we'll continue this next time. We're nowhere near done, but we do need to end the stream for now. And I'll make no edits to it, I promise. In fact, I'll save it right now. And we'll continue designing it. Because, yeah, we're nowhere near done. But everything's from scratch, so it's going to be longer than if I was doing entirely pattern manipulation. As you saw, the pants were pretty easy and fun, and I was just able to just kind of play with it. But yeah, and then if you have... So here's our community email. We only answer questions on here. We only answer stream requests. So if you want to see different types of things on the stream that we're building, or if you want to see more Q&A streams, you can send us an email there. Or if you have stream ideas, feel free to send them there to us. And thank you all so much for joining our stream today. We'll be doing it hopefully either next week or the week after that. I will let you guys know on YouTube and in like Discord. So again, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you. And we will see you soon.